Okay, the next filter I want to show you is PinArt 3D. Now the name for PinArt is a reference to that toy that you might have seen that has a pin screen and allows you to push objects into the pins and make extruded shapes. Well, it's the same thing in the BCC PinArt filter, except it is so much cooler. So like, how would you like to be able to make extruded shapes and image maps from any video or image on your computer? Well, check it out. So I have this image of a hand here, and I'm just going to apply PinArt filter to it. So you can see me create this effect from scratch. All right, so here's the default setting. It's using the luminance values of the hand to make the pins. I'm going to change the shape to 3D spheres and then turn on some AE lights to make it look more 3D. Okay, you can see here how it responds to the AE lights very naturally. This by itself is kind of a cool effect, like a 3D LED effect. Now as I change some of these settings here, what I'm going to do is emphasize the 3D nature of these pins. So I'm going to shift the effects out and rotate the object a little bit so you can see that it is actually extruding in 3D space. Okay, now to further push this point home, here's an After Effects layer, also a 3D layer, and I'm going to create a new camera, an AE camera, and I'm going to be able to just rotate around the object with the AE layer in the background, and you can see it moves very naturally in 3D space. So that's another great feature, the ability to use AE's camera with it and get different perspectives on it that way. All right, I don't need that anymore. I'm going to delete that. Okay, next, let me show you how you can add a background to this pin screen. Currently, we just have like the hand, and there's not really a screen for the hand. So I'm going to add that image of clouds there as a pin screen in the background. I'm just going to make sure this hand is selected as the foreground, then select the clouds as the background and increase the mix value here. And there we go. Now it looks like a true PinArt filter, except much cooler. As I rotate, you can see it is still a 3D extrusion on the pins that are in the background. And I can push them forward or even push them back if I want. Another cool thing you can do is that you can actually create a transitional wipe through this effect. So if I go into this shift wipe effect here and I scrub the wipe progress parameter, you can see a transitional extrusion happening here. So it's coming from flat into the foreground, and I can bring the background into the foreground too. And I can adjust how soft or hard this transition is. There's several different preset styles for the wipe, giving you many fun looks to play with, and I have to force myself not to play with them all right now, so I'll just turn that off. Okay, now we've been focusing a lot on this 3D sphere shape. Let me just show you again quickly one of the other shapes we offer here, 3D planes. Okay, so this also has a nice kind of effect look to it. You can change it to grid lines, which I really like. I can't explain it, I just really like 3D grid images, something about growing up in the 80s perhaps, I don't know. But this is a fun effect to play with, and you can see that this is still 3D. Okay, so going back into the spheres, I'm going to reset this look to the way we had it before, and I want to show you some of the distortion effects. Like here's a twist effect you can do. I mean, try doing this with the PinArt toy, right? You couldn't do it, or you could, but then you'd break it, and then you'd have to buy another one. You can also add a noise map to the pin screen, fully automated noise map, so you can see that as an auto-animating transformer there. Turn that back off and disable that too. We also offer a dispersion transformer, which you gotta have it, right? Because look at that, you need that effect in this kind of filter. And then you can change the dimensions of the dispersion, and you can use the scatter wipe on this too, so you can have your lovely pin screen get destroyed by the dispersion wipe effect. Again, you could really just play with this filter all day, at least I could, and I do. But anyway, to show you another cool effect, let me go back into the 3D planes. You can also twist and spin the individual pins depending on the shape. So here I've got the spin parameter for all the pins, and you get a really neat kind of rotational effect that way. I can increase the variation on the spin so that it looks a little bit more random. Let me turn up the noise map here just to keep it in real 3D. Like, let's not cut any shortcuts now. So check this out. We've got a really interesting looking pin screen here, and all the pins are being spun around, and I can even tumble them. Just a really neat looking effect. It reminds me of when like people at a ball game hold up all the posters and it makes an image or something like that. Another nice thing about pin art is that it works really well with other filters as well. It's really common to apply a glow effect or a light rays effect to these kinds of filters, and so I'm just gonna, add a green glow here. Maybe turn up the intensity of the glow a little bit. All right, so now it looks almost like a electronic light display that's coming to life or something. The possibilities go so far beyond what I can show you right now. I'll just leave you with this effect of a face with pin art and beat reactor at the same time.